Alright, I'm back over at H.A.P.P.Y Performance in San Antonio to hit the dyno and see some difference in numbers. I'm running about a 50% ethanol blend with the E85 back-end flash. So on the way over here, in the same spot I've been doing my little runs to check, did on the draggy a 12.77, which isn't my best time, but got the best mile an hour of 118.42. It is cold, it's about 40 degrees. Tires are sprinting pretty bad, that's probably why the ET was a little slower. But either way, that's my best mile an hour. Certain little things, just like looking at the dyno results, instead of letting it rev all the way up to 7,000, I've been shifting it at 6,200, which seems to keep it in the sweet spot of the power band a little better. So, but doing that before, when I first started the 30% blend, I was getting about a 114. So anyway, do a couple of runs. I want to do my MAP-5 has been learning up to about 18 psi, but with the temperature today, I think on that last log I looked at for the one I just did on the way over here, still in the mid-15s. So that might not be my power champion between that and MAP-2, which is 17 psi target. And I want to give another shot on MAP-7, which is the 100 octane required, which from my calculations with a 50% ethanol blend, I'm hitting in the pulls I've done on the road, little third and fourth gear pulls, I'm getting no knock retards. So last time on the dyno, I don't know exactly what went wrong. Everything was fine, and then fuel high pressure dropped to 2, which is about 300 psi, and I think it just shut down. So we'll give that a shot. But anyway, 3 or 4 pulls. Not going to do any of the stock flash stuff, just because I think by the time you're wanting to play with ethanol, you're going to be running a tune, and with the fuel scalers and stuff like that, it's sort of a good idea, especially at 50%. But anyway, have fun and see what we get.
Slightly right there.
Straight.
Go over the first of the block. Good. Neutral. You lower the car?
No.
It's lower, right?
I must be gaining weight.
Alright, you're good.
Ready.
Traction control kicked in or something?
No, yeah, that was MAP-5.
437 torque and 360.
And the top before that was 336 and 405.
Holy shit.
Yeah. All right, good. Yeah,
Smell tire.
it happens. All right, 366, 444. here we go. Time to take a look at the results. So the only thing that changed between this dyno session and the previous one is that now running a 50% ethanol blend and a E85 back-end flash instead of the pump back-end flash. With that being said, map two differences. So going from the pump setup to the E85, the ethanol setup, saw an increase from 336 wheel horsepower to 365 wheel horsepower. That's a net gain of about 29 wheel horsepower, which is just around 9%, a little under 10%. Torque-wise, we jumped from 405 torque at the wheels to 444, so it's 39 wheel torque increase. Again, I mean, we're almost a 10% gain for basically just switching fuels. Being that the ethanol, 50% ethanol blend is up in the octane rating, I was able to successfully pull the map 7, which is the they call the race map, and it targets, or map 2 targets 17 psi. Map 5 I've seen get up as high as about 18. Map 7 is over 19.5, 19.6 in that range. So it's targeting another pound and a half of boost. And with that, I was able to get 373 wheel horsepower and 466 foot-pounds of torque at the wheels. So coming from, like I said, just from switching fuels and a back-end flash map that goes along with those fuels, offering some more ignition advance, that's a 10% increase of power that, as I like to put it, was unlocked, because it didn't really give it extra power. It's just allowing that engine to make the power that's there. We started out at our baseline stock vehicle was 271 wheel horsepower, so now we're up to 373 for the peak, so 102 wheel horsepower, and started out around 348, 345, up to 466, so about 120 foot-pounds of torque. And to kind of give a demonstration of why that is, this was a log from the full bolt-on session when I went back after putting the downpipes on, running the pump back-end flash. And this blue line's RPM, and these are all your ignition for your cylinders. So you can see, first of all, that all the targets are below 7.5 degrees of advance, but just all these drops. This is all knock detection. Every time the knock detection system senses some detonation, it's going to retard timing in the cylinders that it's hearing it out of. And so you can just see how many times this ignition's cutting. So it'll drop it off and then it'll incrementally start trying to add it back up to what's in the ignition map, and as long as it doesn't sense any more knock in that cylinder, it'll climb back up to the value. So in this case, maybe just under 7, maybe around 6 is probably what was in that map. And situations like this, where this ignition 2, the yellow line, you see it come down, and as it's trying to add it back in, it hit another drop. So it's getting a lot of knock detection going on. From this dyno session, we can see, first of all, the values. It runs more ignition advanced due to ethanol having the higher octane rating and burning slower and cooler, and it's much cleaner. It wasn't up until the higher RPM range, probably around 6,000 or so, that it got picked up on, I think it's just one cylinder here, and had a cut there that it started building in. So same thing, here's another log from the same dyno session. There's one little event down here in the lower RPM range for one cylinder, and built back in. So the much cleaner logs, as opposed to this pump fuel. All the dyno results were much more consistent run to run, and again, 10% more power, approximately 10% more power at the wheels just by changing your back end flash and going to a 50% ethanol blend. So very, very happy with that. Next video I'm going to be looking at adjusting my timing tables to get rid of this dip here. So kind of explain it, but looking at plotting out the load and RPM of these runs, see that the ignition values drop from around 14 to around 7 in this RPM range, and then where it builds back up, boost is coming on. So I want to go back to the dyno after I've been increasing in those ranges a little bit until I can get clean logs with no knock and as much value as I can out of them. But I'm hoping that I can get this not to have this valley and just be a nice flat line coming across here, as well as hopefully extending out the torque curve a little further, which will bring the horsepower rating up. But anyway, very happy with the outcome. Thanks for watching.